Right guys, so here's the review of the Phoibos Proteus limited edition bronze. So I'll go into more detail when we get into the review, but as for now, let's start off with the case. So you get the usual Phoibos nice leather kind of pouch, well, faux leather I'm guessing. And then quickly go over what else is in here, other than the watch. So we get this about the return policy. If you want to pause that and read it in more detail, you can do that. We've got a little return application thing, instruction manual, then the warranty card. So you get a 2-year warranty with this, which is always good. And then obviously we get the watch itself, so just get all this out of the way and we'll get right down to it. So here is the actual watch. So this is the white dial version, but if you're not keen on this one, they have a few different others. So they've got a salmon one, they've also got a forged carbon one, which is pretty interesting. And then they've got a more traditional kind of blue and greens. And depending on which one you get, the strap will change. With this one I've got here, this is like a brown colour vintage, well they call it vintage style Italian strap. It's very nice. Before we get into detail on the watch, let's go over the dimensions. So we've got a diameter of 42mm, thickness just on the chunky side of 14.2, then the lug width is 22, and then the all-important lug to lug is 49. So despite some of the dimensions being on the larger side, the fact that it's under that magical 50mm lug to lug means it'll probably fit a lot of wrist sizes. But I'll show you what it wears like in a bit. So before we get into this properly, I'll quickly go over, there is actually a discount code on this at the moment. Until the end of March you can get $90 off, or €90 depending on whether you use the European site or not. So the full price of this is $375, but with that discount you can get it for $285, which works out to about £237, about €267. But let's show you what you're actually going to get if you do pick one of these up. First off, let's zoom in on that dial. So with this white one, I don't know how well this is going to come up on camera. There we go, you can see it is actually slightly textured. So I do like that. Pretty subtle, you can only see it really close up or in certain lighting conditions really. But it is a nice little detail. I also like the colour they've used on those hands and indices as well. And that frame around the day window. It's like a rose gold kind of colour, matching the pristine condition of the bronze when you first get it. Obviously the bronze will age, so that will patina a bit and change colour, whereas the indices in the hands will stay the same. Another interesting thing you've probably noticed is that chapter ring around the outside. Got a little bit of an interesting shade to it, like a yellowy kind of green almost. And that is because that is actually fully loomed. But we'll talk about the loom a bit later on. Another nice little touch is that second end, that lightning bolt. I do like that. I know some people aren't keen on them, but as I say, I personally do like it. Same can probably be said for that Phoibos logo. One of those that some people either love or hate. And again, I actually quite like it. So let's get a zoom back out, show you the rest of the watch. So we've got fully brushed case, just with polished chamfered details on the edge there. You don't want anything too fancy with it being bronze because it is going to patina and change over time. But it is nice that we've got some curvature to those lugs. So despite it being pretty thick, it does still wear on wrist quite nicely. Another nice little detail is this crown. So we've got the Phoibos logo on there again. And we've also got some nice detailing on the grip as well. Do you like that? Does look good. Now when it comes to that bezel, that is actually bronze as well. So it's a bronze inlay on that. Which is something a little bit different, not something you see a lot often. So again, do you like that? Get a closer look at this strap. So you can see that's got a nice colour to it. That brown colour with this one. Vintage style stitching, matching bronze hardware. The Phoibos printed on the top. And when it comes to the case back, yeah, we've got that Phoibos logo there. Other than that, not a lot of text. So Phoibos, 300 meter water resistance, and then the Proteus name there, that way around. Now this is where it gets interesting. So as I alluded to earlier, these are actually limited edition. So they're only going to make 100 of each colour. So obviously you can have your individual number. This one is number 59 of 100 on this particular colour. So in total they're only going to be making 500 of these bronze ones, 100 of each different colour. So pretty limited edition. So if you are interested, you're going to have to be quick if you want to pick one up. Let's quickly check if we've got sapphire crystal. Using the trusty diamond selector too. And yep, we have got sapphire crystal, which is always good to see. And that is actually a double domed sapphire crystal as well. We've also got AR on that as well, as you can probably tell. So it does help stop a lot of the reflections and let you see that beautiful dial. As I alluded to earlier, we've also got a bronze bezel, so I'll show you that in action now. So it's 120 click. No backplay at all. And also lines up nicely. No issues there. As you pretty much expect with Phoibos, they've got a good track record. This is only the second watch of theirs I've checked out. The previous one being this one down here. If you haven't seen the review for that, I'll leave a link to that up here as well if you want to check it out. But now let's check out what the loom's like. So you can see we've got quite a bit there already, but let's charge it up. Give it a fair chance. And there we go. So really nice loom profile on this one. So we've got that C3 on that chapter ring. So apparently there's 15 layers of C3 on there. And then with the hands indices and that loom pip, we've got BGW9. So you'll probably notice fairly early on with this, that C3 just starts to fade a little bit quicker than the BGW9. But with it just being the chapter ring, it's not really too big a deal. You want the hands and the indices to hang around longer, and obviously that loom pip as well. And they do. That C3 on the chapter ring is just a nice little bonus. We've even got some BGW9 on the tip of that second hand as well, which is a nice little touch. And it's nicely evenly applied across all the hands and indices. No patchiness at all. So, pretty impressive loom. Oh, just thought I forgot to mention the weight of this. So, this is weighing in at 122 grams, which I think, considering the size of the watch, and the fact that it's bronze, isn't too bad. But as you probably know, I'm not really too bothered about the weight of watches. It doesn't bother me either way, whether it's lighter or heavier. I've got titanium watches which don't weigh much. I've got other watches that weigh quite a bit. But I know for some people that is quite important, so just thought I'd let you know. When it comes to the movement on this, I've got the NH35. So unscrew the crown, which is really nice and grippy, as well as looking good. Pop it out once. Change the date. Pop it out again, second on stops, you got hacking. And then obviously you can just change the time. Pop it back in, second on re-engages. And winding. All works well. So all it's left to do now is show you what it's like on wrist. So this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. And as I said, with the curvature to those lugs, it does conform really nicely. And with that less than 50mm lug to lug, despite it being a 42mm watch, it does wear really nicely, I think. Yeah, it's quite thick, but for this kind of style of watch, I think that's forgivable. And it is a really good looking piece. I'm looking forward to seeing how this bronze ages over time and patinas a bit. And I do like that you get the bronze buckle as well. It's always nice to have the matching hardware. And the strap is really comfortable too. I do like this a lot. Brown colour suits this white one. But as I say, depending on which colour you get, that will change. And if you want to know what they're all like, just check out the link in the description. Have I got any problems with this? If I had to fault it all, yeah, I'd probably say you could probably shave a few mil off that thickness. But other than that, I can't really think of anything. I really like this one. Obviously, if you're not into bronze watches, this probably won't appeal to you. Or perhaps this could be the one that changes your mind on bronze watches. I'm guessing if you've made it this far into the video, you're probably into bronze watches, or at least this one in particular. But that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.